Good morning and welcome to the Oasis Center for Spiritual Living, where we come together as one, providing spiritual tools for daily living. We've been having such technical difficulties today, so Faith is actually on double duty this morning. She's going to have to, I can't do anything. She's going to have to do it all. The only thing I can do is speak. So, for those of you who don't know me, I'm Reverend Tucker. I'm the senior minister here at the Oasis, and I have this wonderful team that God has provided me. And so I like to introduce them. Let me start with my faithful assistant, Faith. She has to bring herself in. Faith has been my assistant since the day she was born, basically 3 weeks old, I think. Her dad brought her to church, and he would work the soundboard with one hand and hold her with the other. And then when she was old enough to crawl, he just let her go, and she came up on stage, which was fine. I just left her up there because I had a portable mic and I could just step over her, and it worked out. And then I would put her up on the podium to do announcements with me, and everybody, would goo and gaw at this cute little kid. So they were paying really good attention to what I was saying. And then as she got older, she and her sister started doing the affirmation cards at the end, kind of an usher function. But she grew up 6 blocks from my house, and her dad was a tow truck driver. So when he would go on out of town tows, he would drop the girls at my house, and we'd do projects because, that's what we do at my house. We do projects. And so I got a sense of, her work. So when she was 14 and a half and said, I want a real job this year because she was babysitting, I said, okay. And I hired her for my ozone business. And out of the 3 assistants I had over the course of the last 8 years, she was the best. And then, the pandemic happened and we went live on the church. And I said, do you want to be my ministerial assistant? And she said, sure. And I'm like, great. Okay. I just noticed the lighting's not set up. That's fine. Anyway. And so she said, sure. And so here we are 5 years later, and she is my assistant, and she does everything, literally everything. Usually in the beginning, I do, like, I bring her on and then I bring Oz on, and I do that kind of stuff. But she does all the rest of it in the background, because when I'm speaking, if I have to do a bunch of stuff, I get sidetracked, and then I forget where I'm at. So, so today she's having to do all of that too. So, anyway, what was I saying? See, this is what happens. When in the Wizard of Oz, when you pull back the curtain, you have this old guy. Here we have Faith. Faith does it all. And she's also our soloist. And today she's going to be singing Let Go of the Shore by Karen Drucker. Aren't you proud of me? I remembered. Usually I don't remember. So I couldn't do this without you. Thank you, Faith. If you'll bring Oz on now. Next is my partner in crime, the wise and powerful Oz, who took all of his training. He was my first baby practitioner, is what we call it. And he took all of his training with me except for one class at Mile High, and then became my board president for many years, and then moved off to Florida. So I lost the ability. I know what's wrong. This is up here instead of down here. Okay. Maybe that'll help. Maybe that helps. Maybe a little bit. He was my board president for many years, and he moved off to Florida, and we lost the ability to have him in the service with us as the practitioner of the day. So, when we went live for the pandemic, I said, are you willing to be our practitioner of the day? And he said, sure. Neither one of us realizing that 5 years later, he would be the one every single week doing that. But he's here as always. Thank you so much for being here. Practitioner of the day is, he does the invocation, the benediction, and he's available for our 1-minute miracle after the service. And I'll talk a little bit more about that later. I'm so used to doing certain things, and it's so weird that I can't do them right now. Thank you so much, Oz. I couldn't do this without you. Love you. All right. There is a watch party button. I forgot to say with Faith. So say hi, hello, good morning, however you want to greet us. When we're in a facility, I can look out and see the shining faces beaming back at me. I don't get that here. So I'd appreciate it very much if you would just say hi, hello, Good morning. Faith will answer you because she knows me as well as I know myself. I think I've only had to go back twice in 5 years to answer a question or expand on something, but not usually. There is a watch party button that you can press on and invite all of your friends so they know what kind of Sunday service they can expect. And then you can chat amongst yourselves if they have any questions. It's a great way for them to get their questions answered. So click on that watch party button and invite all your friends. So I invite you now to close your eyes if that feels comfortable. Allow the service to uplift you and inspire you as we move into our centering song, Surely the Presence.
Surely the presence of God is in this place. I can feel the mighty power and the grace. I can feel the rush of angels' wings. I see glory on each face. Surely the presence of God is in this place. I can feel the mighty power and the grace. I can feel the rush of angels' wings. I see glory on each face. Surely the presence of God is in this place.
Cut to Oz.
The presence of God in this place, wherever and whenever this place may be, for God is in all things, as all things, for all time. There is no place that God is not, including right here, right now, and where I am and where you are. There is no escape from God, for it encompasses all things, creates all things anew in each moment. We know that the presence of God permeates our service whenever you're watching it, and we know that this is true, for we know that God is always there. And knowing that that is there, happening, we know that this is good and very good, and that blessings flow forth through and around. And we give thanks for those blessings, and we let them be. And so it is.
And so it is. Thank you, Oz. Excuse me. This next song is one that Reverend Fairy Lane Silver wrote when she was at practitioner training. And it's a great reminder that we are all connected.
We are all one. We are all one. We are all one in it. I hear it and know it, my being. Spirit is all I am seeing. And the love that's surrounding me is within me by day and night. And we are all one, we are all one, we are all one in it. Yes, we are all one, we are all one, we are all one in it.
Sorry about that. I got the lighting changed. Boy, just everything is all upside down right now. Okay. I forgot to introduce our adjunct music team. Reverend Fairy Lynn Silver, whose song that was the first one to ask us to do her music for Sunday service. And then Karen Drucker, who has been music director for, I think, 3 churches, gifted us with her entire collection of CDs so we can use her music. So we get karaoke files and everything so that we're able to have a Sunday service that includes music. So if you're here joining us, say hi, hello, good morning, however you want to greet us. When we're in a facility, I can look out and see the shining faces beaming back at me. Here I get a number. I would get a number. I don't get anything right now. It was for some reason, StreamYard wouldn't let me in. So Faith is directing the show right now. So I don't have any of my normal cues. But anyway, normally I get a number. I don't even get names. So please say hi, hello, good morning. If you like something that you hear, whether that's something I sing or I say or Faith sings or Oz prays, use that thumbs up button. Let us know you like it. If you love something, by all means, send us hearts. We love to get love. And if you find something is powerful or hits right to the point, please use that wow button. It's great feedback for me to let me know when I'm on track. So, all right. Without further ado, here is Faith singing Let Go of the Shore by Karen Drucker.
Thank you. Let go of the shore and let the water carry you. Let go of the shore, float into the mystery. Let go of the shore and let the water carry you. Let go of the shore, float into the mystery. You have all you need, it's all inside of you. Just close your eyes and breathe and know that you are safe. Let go of the shore and let the water carry you. Let go of the shore, float into the mystery. Let go of the shore and let the water carry you. Let go of the shore, float into the mystery. No need to make a plan, Your heart will be your compass. Lift your sails in faith and trust that you will arrive. Let go of the shore and let the water carry you. Let go of the shore, floating to the mystery. Let go of the shore and let the water carry you. Let go of the shore, floating to the mystery. Let go of the shore, floating to the mystery. Let go of the shore, floating to the mystery. Let go of the shore, floating to the mystery. Floating to the mystery. Floating to the mystery. Float. Let go. Float. Let go. Float.
I was waiting for her to pull me up on camera so I could clap for her.
I had to pop out of the lyrics and pause the TV to
I
set the
know.
mic down to do. If only you guys knew what happens behind the scenes to do these things. We look like we're crazy.
I know, right?
Thank you.
Thank you so much, Faith. Oh my goodness, my goodness. Technical difficulties are always fun. They make us take risks. They make us trust. So today I want to talk about divine risk taking, and that's different than just taking risks. Anybody can take risks. Like I could run out in front of traffic, but I'm not advising anybody do that. Divine risk taking is based on faith, trust, and surrender. And anytime that we are faced with what the God within us wants us to do versus our ego wants us to do things, obviously, wants us to take risks. But when it's ego driven instead of God driven, you can really tell the difference. We're forcing it. We're deciding that we're going to just do this thing, and we do it. And unfortunately, it doesn't usually turn out well. We are running from something, or we're running towards something. When you're taking divine risks, you're running towards something. I used to have all these people in my congregation, well, in other people's congregations, who would call me and they'd be mad at their minister, and they'd want to, put their license, the practitioners put their license at my church. And I made a lot of enemies because I would say, you're welcome to come and attend church all you want, but I will not hold your license until you clean up what you've got going on at the other place. Because I want people who are in our church because they're running towards our vision. They're running towards our mission. They want to be there versus running away from something else. And so I look at risk-taking as an ego-driven thing, and divine risk-taking as something within us, this urge within us that is God within us, is asking of us. Because it forces you to grow. Whenever you take risks, it forces you to grow. And otherwise you're stagnant. Otherwise you're just sitting there being complacent and just waiting for life to happen to you. But if we're trying to force it, obviously that's not going to work either. So I want to talk about those three things: trust, faith, trust, and surrender. When you stepped into this church, you took a divine risk. I know when I first went to Mile High, I was raised in the Jewish Orthodox synagogue, and I ran away from that. And when I went to California, I had this really good friend. We used to party together. We had so much fun. She had a grin that went from ear to ear. She was one of the most happy people I have ever met in my life. And then she got involved in this Christian church where dancing was not okay and drinking was not okay. There was just about everything we did was not okay. And I watched her turn from this big grin into this like all the time. And so I was really sure that I would never set foot in a church. I was convinced that I would never let that happen to me. So when Lynn said, hey, we need to go check out this church, he had been doing concerts for Mile High for years. And he said, this minister, Dr. Fred Vogt, is he's such a character. You would love him. And I'm like, okay. And so I walked in the church with my nose under Lynn's armpit, pretty much. And people would put out their hand to shake my hand. I'm like, nope, don't touch me. Don't come near me. And I finally decided to take a class. And I entered into this huge sanctuary. There wasn't that many people taking this class, but this sanctuary was huge. It sat like almost 1,000 people. And when I went in there, there was maybe 200 people. So it just seemed so overwhelming. And I knew that I was being guided there. I knew that that was something in me that just felt like I had to do this. And I took that class and I sat like this the whole time. I'm not sharing anything. You're not going to know anything about me, because I was just sure that that was how they turned this into this. And so I was very cautious in everything that I did with the church for many, many years until I decided to become a minister. And then that was another one of those divine risk-taking things where I did have faith in what was going on. I did trust that the inner voice within me that was driving me to do this was correct. And I had to surrender all control, which was very difficult for me to do. And so I want to say to you, because you're here today, that you have taken a divine risk to be here. And I really am happy that you have, because I hope we will help you grow. All right. And then Krishnamurti, a great spiritual teacher of Indian descent, said, while we meditate to become peaceful, we must never become complacent. And there's a big difference between peace and complacency. Peace means whatever is going on in my life, I can remain peaceful. You know, like the eye of a hurricane, how you can sit in the eye of the hurricane and everything's moving all around you, but you're still at peace. It's not affecting you. And so many times we're afraid to step into the eye of the hurricane because it's unknown. We don't know what is going on. When we're outside in the debris flying around, we at least know what's going on. But it's hard for us to actually step into the eye of the hurricane and not know what's going on. And so I spent a lot of my time just letting my life happen because I didn't want to step into that place, right? And then there were other times where I tried to force life. You know, if I wanted a relationship, I knew who it was. I knew what it was. I was supposed to be with that person. Or, you know, a job. I just, you know, I knew that was the job I needed to have or whatever. And I started forcing it. So when I teach people in our abundance classes, our prosperity classes, one of the things I talk about is how you don't like send out 100 resumes to just anywhere. Because when you're doing that, you're not setting an intention. You're not specifying the experience you want to have. You don't want to focus on a job or a company. You want to specify the experience you want to have. It's that way with love too. You don't necessarily want a certain person, but you want to know, you want to have the experience that you want. So what we do, excuse me, is we set our intention for what it is we want to experience. I want to feel valued and loved. And so that's the experience I want to have in love. I want somebody who likes to do these kinds of things. I want somebody that I can experience that with. That's the kind of thing that you want to do with love. So you don't want to force it on a person. Same thing with a job. I want to be valued. I want to be paid my value. I want to feel like I'm a part of a team, like I'm honored and respected, not the specific company. So what we do is we take it within and we say, okay, this is the experience I want to have. God, please point me, God within, please point me in the direction I need to go to have that experience. And then you'll get 3 or 4 ideas. And those are usually fruitful. And so health is the same way. Like I decided at one point that I wanted to lose weight. And I tried every diet on the face of the planet, I swear. And I would do okay. I would lose the weight and then it would come right back again. So this one time, we do visioning in our church. That's different from visualization. Visualization is I have a specific outcome that I'm looking for, and I want to focus all of my attention on that outcome. In visioning, what we're doing is we're going within and we're asking that God within us for a bigger and better picture of what our life is, you see. And so what must I do, right? What is the one thing that I must do in order to have that? So as we're doing all of that, what we're doing is we're setting in motion an intention for this is how I want to be. This is how I want to experience my life. This is how I want to, And so I was doing some visioning and I was really clear that I wanted my clothes to fit better. I wanted to have more energy. I wanted to be healthier, blah, 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 And so I was watching TV really late at night. One of those infomercials came on with Kevin Trudeau. And so I bought his book. Now, for those of you who have ever read his books, there's very little information and a lot of ranting and raving that he does in his books. So there wasn't a lot of information. The only thing I could glean was that he went off to Germany to do this HCG diet, and he paid like $10,000 to be at this clinic for the time to get the daily shots and whatever, and they kept you on the diet. And I thought, oh, I don't have $10,000, so never mind. But I kept that intention present in my mind. And I had the faith that God would deliver the exact right situation for me. Now, in our religion, we do not, or our philosophy, I should say, we don't, the faith is not in like a faith healer where you just have faith in these principles, right? You don't question anything, right? We teach you how to be in the laboratory of your own life so that you prove to yourself that it works. And it's the faith of God, not the faith in God necessarily. And so I had faith that the God within me would provide the answer that I needed, right? So I'm really busy doing something with my hands. So my left brain was out of the way. And this commercial comes on TV for this chiropractor in Pueblo who was offering the HCG diet. So I called and found out that it was like $800. Okay, I can do that. So I went on that program and I lost 60 pounds and I kept it off like 6.5 years. And it was because I felt like I had placed my faith in the God within me and I had trusted that I would be provided the answer, and I had surrendered control. Because not knowing what the experience was going to be like, I wasn't trying to control anything anymore. And I'm not suggesting everybody go on this diet. I definitely, it is very, the food is restrictive. And I'm a needle phobe. So taking those shots every morning was just, I couldn't do it myself. Reverend Lynn had to do it for me every day. I had to surrender the control that I needed to keep me safe, as I thought, from needles. But it was the perfect situation for me. And I kept the weight off, like all the other diets. As soon as I would start eating, I would gain it all back. But with the HCG diet, there was only two things I had to avoid. Rice and potatoes was the only two things I had to avoid. Everything else, butter, bread, I could have all of it. And so that was a perfect situation for what I consider being taking a divine risk, because I did have faith. I did trust in the process, and I did relinquish my need for control. And that's, we don't really control anything. That's an illusion that we have, that we are in control somehow. And so what we do is we try to micromanage God. That's why I say, like, if we're forcing it, we're trying to tell God how it's going to happen. And what happens is God cannot work. The God within us cannot work because we've closed off all the avenues through which God could deliver that perfect love, that perfect health, that perfect prosperity to us, right? And so it's not a prosperity problem. It's not a love issue. Excuse me, I'm sorry. I'm having the worst allergies right now. Everybody I talk to is having the same trouble, so I guess I'm not alone in this, but my sinuses just completely fill up and then I cough. So anyway, where was I? We don't have a prosperity problem. We don't have a love problem, and we certainly don't have a health problem. What we have is a micromanagement problem. Because I want to tell God which person, what job, what city, and I want to control it all. And unfortunately, if we set an intention for something and then allow the God within us to fill it in, then we get what we want. But if we are so busy micromanaging and telling God, this is the situation, it has to be this person, it has to be this city, it has to be that thing, it has to be whatever. When we're doing that, we limit the capacity of God within us to fill in the blanks, right? So that's really what we need to do. And I learned so much from dogs that I've had. I cannot even tell you. The first dog was an Alaskan Malamute that made it to like 15, which was kind of unheard of at the time for a big dog to last 15 years. But when it came time for him to go, I had to really do a lot of work because I wanted him to stay, right? He was my buddy. I lived alone with him for very many years until Reverend Lynn moved in. He was my buddy, and he just went everywhere with me, everywhere he could go with me. Back then, we didn't have emotional support dogs like Chica, where she gets to go everywhere. But my mantra through all of it was faith, trust, and surrender. And then we had the twins, and the twins were really interesting. Coda had a extra pathway in her heart, and we were told she would never make it to a year old. She was 4.5 months old when they diagnosed her. And so we went through her life with heart surgery, all kinds of weird stuff. You know, she died almost like 5 times. There used to be a joke at the VRCC where they would say that they would say, "Are you sure this isn't a cat? Because she's already like lived 7 lives, you know." But a lot of that had to do with, again, faith in God, trust that the process works, and relinquishing, surrendering my control. And so she ended up living to almost 12, which is amazing. We always thought she would go before her brother did. And that was another situation where faith, trust, and surrender worked. He was 9 years old. He developed bone cancer. And we kept him alive for a year and a half, something like that, with injections and all kinds of weird stuff that we did to him. Poor guy. And he was my prayer buddy. He would go up to people, and I just knew the minute I saw him running towards somebody, oh God, here's another one. And of course, they would need some kind of spiritual support. And so he was my healing buddy. And so again, I had to really rely on the faith that everything was working the way it should, and that trusting the process and relinquishing my control, because I wanted him to stay alive. And I would check in with him, and finally I got, that it was okay to take his leg, because that was my human stuff going on. So we took his leg, and then, he still kept on keeping on, showing us what he could do until we did some things we shouldn't have done with him. Advanced procedures that we did that he stopped wanting to live. So, excuse me. All of that was about having the faith of God that we were doing what we should be doing, and letting the inner guidance direct us to the right place and the right person and the right procedures. It was only when we stepped out of that and became ego-driven that he gave up his life, because we made him miserable. And I had to relinquish control of all of that, because he was in control. Honestly, he was in control. And then, Chakotay was only 5 years old when he died. He had a seizure disorder. And again, I had to practice that. So these days I've become very well practiced at letting whatever it is that I want a certain experience, but I let go of the need to control it. And I try not to run away from anything, but rather run towards a solution that is good for everybody. And so through all of this, I guess what I'm saying is that we need to take stock of what it is that we want, what kind of experience we want to have, and not try to force it. We get impatient. We want it to happen, and we want it to happen now. We're an instant gratification society. And because of that, we have a tendency to micromanage God. We have a tendency to say, well, it has to happen this certain way, because if it doesn't, it won't come fast enough. Or I'm going to get away from this situation and go over there. Well, wherever you go, there you are. It's not like you can remove yourself from a city or a situation or a job or anything else, and then you'll wind up in the same place wherever, the same experience wherever you end up being. And so as we go through what it is we want to experience, we need to remember that we need to have the faith of God that we will be directed and guided and led to the right place, that our ego does not need to step in and say what it's going to be. We need to trust the process. I know I have many times had fickle trust. Like I say, I trust. Of course I trust. And then I get in there and I start trying to manipulate things. And so I've learned that trust is something you either trust the process or you don't. You can't have fickle trust and get the same results. And then, of course, always we have to surrender our need to control. And that is stepping off the shore, letting go of the shore, because we're so used to holding on to those things that are familiar, because that's what gives us comfort. But if we truly, truly believe and truly, truly trust and truly, truly give up control, then we're comfortable wherever we are, instead of having to have these certain things for our comfort. I think that's a lesson we're all going to need very soon, but that's a whole other story. So I say to you this week, will you do that with me? Will you look at your situations and see what it is you want to experience, and focus on letting the God within you provide the avenue through which that comes? Just say what you want to feel and let God do the rest. Will you trust the process and then give up, surrender those ideas that you can control anything? Let's have a prayer.
You're muted.
Right now, I just focus my attention on the infinite presence, the infinite power, the infinite life of God. To that place within me that knows beyond human understanding just how amazing, how powerful, how loving, how beautiful that presence is. And that is where I find myself, in the midst of God, my very essence, my very life, my very being. It is who and what I am. And every thought, every action, every deed is guided and led by that ancient wisdom of the ages that is God within me. It is God flowing through me like it flows through all of life. I know this same truth to be so for this team that God has provided for Oz and for Faith, for Karen and Elaine and Tina. For we are one in that infinite power, that infinite presence of life, and that same ancient wisdom of the ages that flows through all of life flows through us as a team as well. I know that same truth to be so for every person listening, whether that be in real time or later on. For there is only one ancient wisdom, one ancient flow of life, one love, one power flowing through all. We are connected by it, through it, as it. It is who and what we are. Mitakuias and all my brethren, we are related. So I bless this coming week with awarenesses of where we have tried to manipulate or control God to get the result we want. And in that awareness becomes a knowingness that faith, trust, and surrender are the three things that we can do to accomplish what it is we want. As long as we give way to that infinite power, that infinite presence within us, guiding us to the right situation. So I bless us all with that experience this week, as I bless every name that is in the ministry of prayer today. Because I know that no matter what they are experiencing, the answer is that flow of God. The answer to all issues is God in action, God in truth, God in power. And so I know that this experience is changed by that awareness. I pull back the veil, revealing this truth here and now, claiming it for them in their name as good and very good. I give thanks that this is so, to be of service in this way, and I just let it be. And so it is. Amen.
You are the heart, you are the hands, you are the voice of spirit on earth, and who you are, and all you do is a blessing to the world. You are the heart, you are the hands, you are the voice of spirit on earth, and who you are, and all you do is a blessing to the world.
Thank you. Now is our opportunity to receive your gifts, tithes, and offerings, and your opportunity to